All right, welcome this evening. Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the city clerk please take attendance?
Mr. Mayor, there are 6 council members present. Councilmember Duran and City Attorney Vince Jones are joining us via conference call.
All right, thank you. All right, item 3 is the approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Are there any comments from the on the agenda from the public? Council have any comments? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Aye.
Doran?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Tiltonburn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye. All right, item 4, open forum. In order to provide equal access to all during the open forum and public comment portions of the meeting, each individual offering comments shall not exceed the allotted 3-minute period. The podium light turns green to yellow where there is 1 minute remaining. Your time for comment has expired when the podium light turns red. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the council on an item that is not listed on tonight's agenda? All right, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Action on the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Council members have any comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Doran?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Tiltonburn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
So since Councilmember Duran is not here, I am going to do this proclamation. Is there someone here in attendance that I'm not aware of? Okay, please come up. All right. Mayoral proclamation. Whereas sexual assault is a public health issue that harms individuals, families, and communities, often across generations. And whereas the most recent statistics that were done in 2023, reported by the South Dakota Department of Health, rank South Dakota 10th in the nation for the number of victims per 100,000 people. And whereas sexual assault can happen to anyone, but certain populations are at greater risk, including those affected by violence, substance abuse, poverty, and social disconnection, with 40% of the sexual violence victims in South Dakota being those of Native descent. And whereas many incidents of sexual assault go unreported due to fear, stigmatism, lack of resources, or concern about not being believed, emphasizing the importance of community education and prevention efforts. And whereas the City of Brookings and Margo's Place is committed to ensuring that those impacted by sexual assault receive responsive and trauma-informed services. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Opke Garrett Niemeyer, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month.
Okay, I just have a quick message. Thank you, Mayor and the City of Brookings, for this proclamation recognizing Sexual Assault Awareness Month. My name is Sammy, and I am the rural advocate at Margo's Place. This month is about more than just awareness. It's about acknowledging the reality that sexual violence doesn't exist in a silo, but can affect children, spouses, families, and entire communities. This month and our work at Margo's Place are about recognizing survivors, not just for what they've endured, but for their strength, their resilience, and their right to heal on their own terms. At Margot's Place, we have the privilege of walking alongside survivors in some of their most vulnerable moments. We continually see firsthand the courage it takes to speak up and see support and justice. We rely on the support of the community, taking us all to have compassion, elevate advocacy, and educate one another to create real change. Proclamations like tonight send a message in Brookings that this community is committed to believing and supporting survivors. It reminds us that prevention is possible, support matters, and that everyone has a role in creating a safe community. Our staff responds to the hospital, the police department, the jail, wherever our clients need us. We're grateful for our partnerships with law enforcement, emergency responders, and criminal justice and community partners for building a foundation of support for survivors. If you or someone you know would like training, have questions, or need support, Margot's Place is available 24/7. You can find help at our Purple Door or by calling 605-692-7233. Thank you again for this proclamation and for standing with survivors.
Just to add to that, I did a proclamation for a woman that is going to turn 100 years tomorrow. And some of her legacy is being part of creating a safe place for domestic abuse. And she is part of what is Margot's Place now. So I'd like to put kudos out to Margaret Denton for being one of those people that had the foresight to create a safe place to begin with. So, the next thing, we've got a whole bunch of pinning to do, and it looks like we've got quite a few officers here that will be getting promotions. And Police Chief Drake is around the corner. There he is. And we'll be taking it from there.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City staff, and of course, our lovely community of Brookings. Thank you for joining us. When I got here 3.5 years ago, we would do this very often, and I thought it was more plausible to do this maybe twice a year so that we can see our police department and how it grows over the 6 months instead of kind of bringing them in one at a time. We'll see how that goes. This tonight will be our pilot run, Mr. Mayor. So we'll do the promotions first, starting by rank. We'll bring you up, introduce you. You'll stay up here with you and your family. Then we'll do our new hires. And then at the very end, we'll have our swearing in of our new police officers, which the mayor will preside over. So without further ado, the promotional process that we've adopted in the city of Brookings is at least a 6-month process for lieutenant, sergeant, and corporal. That process was taken from the nationwide look at what the gold standards are for this, and it's not just given to folks. They have to earn it through a battery of at least 5 or so to 6 outside reading material and sources that they have to study from, textbooks and other reference materials, plus city ordinances, codified law, case law, and et cetera. And then they take a 3-part written exam that is consistent of a closed book portion, an open book portion, and then a written exercise assessment, which is more based on scenarios that draw from that reading material. After that, the candidates then have to go through an oral assessment board where we invite outside agencies in South Dakota to partake in it as the proctors and the scorers, and they have to go through 2 different types of scenarios. One is a critical incident or a incident management based off of the NIMS or incident ICS model. And then the second one is administratively run, where it's either an issue in personnel, an administrative matter, or an internal affairs complaint, or something that they have to deal with as a supervisor in our department. And then they are rank scored, matrixed against each other, T-scored, and then we get the final rankings. And that's how our promotions are done. And that takes It takes the department a year to prepare for it, and it takes the candidates at least 6 months to prepare for it. So without further ado, the folks that you're going to see tonight getting these promotions have put in almost a year to get to this point to represent our department for the future. So with further ado, I want to introduce him and bring up our new patrol lieutenant for the police department, Jonathan Weinrich. Next up is our Patrol Sergeant Dustin Angstrom. I'm proud to announce that Dustin Angstrom was one of our first candidates to make the corporal rank in this a few years ago based off of the CPSM study. He ended up #1 on the corporal exam, and he also ended up #1 on the sergeant's exam. So bright future for Sergeant Angstrom. Next up is our Patrol Sergeant Jacob Vukovic. Detective Corporal Rick Whitaker. Don't hold this against them, but we did steal him from North Dakota, but it's the best part of North Dakota that we could steal from them. So he is now a true jackrabbit. I don't know what's gonna happen if you go back to North Dakota, Rick, but. The next one is Patrol Corporal Cora Olson. We were able to steal her back from the state, and she joined the department, did wonders in patrol, and just quickly got promoted to corporal in the patrol. And she'll be accompanied by her husband, who is a sergeant with the Highway Patrol. The next one we stole from the University Police Department from patrol, and then he is put in the work is our Patrol Corporal Scott Roberts. And then last but not least for our promotions, we have lead dispatcher Brittany Williams, who I got to know when I got here as a dispatcher, and then she went through the interview process and was recommended to get promoted to lead dispatcher, and she's a shift supervisor in our emergency 911 center. These are all of the promotions over the last 6 months in the City of Brookings Police Department, so please join me in congratulating them. Next up will be our new hires. We'll start off first with our office manager, Victoria Brockle. We were able to get her from the school. Yep, Victoria, you do have to come up when I call your name. I know this is a surprise to you, and she didn't want to. But Victoria came to the department shortly, about a couple months ago, and has immediately hit the ground running as our new office manager. We also welcome our community service officer and full-time and Chase McMath. And then we have 2 part-time community service officers, Emily Knoll and Lena Duncan. I think Lena is the only one that's here. Yeah. And then we also want to welcome to our family, our dispatcher for the Emergency 911 Center, Christopher Williams. Please, round of applause for our new additions. And then last but not least are the patrol officers who will now bring up with their families, and we will have the mayor come down and do the swearing in. With patrol officers Dakota Dodds, Drayden Schneider, Jarrett Armstrong, and Maggie Schleipzig. Please join us up front with your families. And then I will invite the mayor down, and he will provide us with the oath of office.
All right. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer for the city of Brookings, South Dakota. Congratulations.
All right, thank you all. We'll take a quick photo. I've been told this, so City Council, please don't get mad at me, but I'm just giving you the directions, so don't kill the messenger of you all will be up here on your dais, and we'll put everybody in front of you and take the photo that way. That may or may not have come from the PIO. Yeah, sir. You're right in.
We're gonna have you all move back. Okay, I think I can see everybody. All right, can you all see me fine? Good, I'm glad. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, big smiles. I'm gonna take a couple of them. I'm just gonna move this slightly. Okay, ready? Here we go again. Just keep smiling. Wonderful. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
All right. So I truly appreciate our law enforcement officers that we have here. Obvious evident that not only are they superheroes, but they're also fathers and moms. They have families, and they're part of our community. And I appreciate them being part of our city employee group. All right, so next thing on the agenda is SDSU student report. Anna Hunt is here. Probably is her last time. You'll probably tell us that.
Mr. Mayor, you are correct. It is my last time with you guys. So last night, our Students Association underwent transition. We have 5 new exec members. President Spear and our finance chair, Dominic Delahoyd, are returning. We have a new vice president, Megan Christoffels, a new chief of staff, Andrew Starpel-Schmidt. Communications chair is Noah Johnson. I have Jackie Mollison, our new government affairs chair.
Say the name again.
Jackie Mollison.
There we go. All right. Thank you.
And then our diversity liaison is Brenda Cattenon. I just would like to thank you guys for this opportunity over this year. I really enjoy getting to know you all, and this was a great experience. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie so she can introduce herself.
Hello, it is wonderful to meet with all of you tonight. Like Anna previously mentioned, I am the new government affairs chair, so I will be meeting with you guys for this next year, and it is a pleasure. I'm a student at SDSU. I'm double majoring in criminology and political science on the pre-law track. Yes, I'm involved on student association, political science club president, involved in some other clubs as well, but I'm just happy to be here and of assistance. So, thank you.
Well, welcome, Jacqueline. Congratulations on your position.
Thank you.
When's school done?
May 8th is the last day of finals, so
All right.
we got a few more weeks to go.
All right. Well, finish it off well. Thank you. Any questions for the gals from council? Comments? All right, thank you. We do not have a BMU report tonight because BMU does not have their monthly meeting until this Friday, correct? And then, Bree, would you want to wait until next meeting when you're present to do the Brookings Health Service report? Or would you like to do it now?
I can do it now. I'm prepared.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So at our last meeting, we overviewed the financial audit. We also discussed different themes in health system growth, such as workforce, operating models, and access expansion. We talk about it every report, but Epic is finally nearing the completion on the transition, and Workday for HR is also continuing their transition within our health system. Effective June 1st, the neighborhoods will initiate therapy services, including physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech within the facility. The Wound Center did a sock donation drive for Salvation Army and resulted in over 1,000 pairs of socks for our community. And the health system won a couple of awards. One was the top 100 rural and community hospitals list, as well as the top 20 rural community hospital by the NRHA, and that was for the 9th time in 10 years. Two exciting developments that we'll have more information about in the future. One is the South Dakota Rural Health Transformation Plan. This is a 5-year initiative focusing on access to care, strengthening workforce, modernizing technology, and supporting sustainable rural systems from the Department of Health in South Dakota. Currently, there's limited information that has come out, but a proposal around a doula program was submitted or is under development from our local health system, so we hope to have more information. Lastly, we also discussed the FARM program, which is a USD initiative throughout the state where they have 11 months of rural clinical training students come to different areas, and Brookings is being considered for a potential site. So we hope to have an update on that soon. End of report.
Thank you, Bree. Anybody got any questions, comments? Councilmember Wendell.
I don't have any questions or comments for Bree, but in a moment I can give an update on the Alliance. And
Oh,
and the work
absolutely. If you want to do that now, we can, or you want to wait until after our next presentation? After? Okay.
No, I could do it now.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to give folks an update on the merger organization, which now has an official name and logo and identity. If you were at the Taste of Brookings annual celebration, you probably saw the unveiling of the logo and the name. The organization is now referred to as the Brookings Regional Growth Alliance. This group is well aware that that organization is the merged entity that previously was the Brookings Area Chamber of Commerce, Visit Brookings, Downtown Brookings, and the Brookings Economic Development Corporation. Those 4 separate entities are now in one unified organization known as the Regional Growth Alliance. That evening, we were also able to introduce the new president and CEO that was hired to lead the organization. Her name is Lori Frederick. I know she's been making the rounds in the community, and if you haven't had a chance to meet Lori yet or read up on her background, she comes to us from Elevate Rapid City. Prior to that, she worked in the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and prior to that, she was the leader of the Lead Deadwood Chamber and at that time Tourism Bureau. So she has a depth of experience and history in this area. And prior to her service in these types of organizations, she was a small business owner. And so I think she'll work really well with our business community, but also understands economic development and tourism. And so Lori's got roots in South Dakota and I think was a really nice fit for our new organization. She's getting her feet on the ground with staff and other stakeholders, and the organization is starting to move forward now under new leadership. So wanted to bring that back to the group because we have been talking about the brand development and the hiring of a president and CEO for several months now, and we've sort of checked both of those boxes.
Any questions or follow-up comments from Nick or for Nick? All right, our next presentation will be brought to us by Officer Rhett Larson. The Brookings Police Department has joined the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force as an affiliate agency, and Rhett will elaborate from there.
Good evening, council members, city manager, Mr. Mayor. My name is Rhett Larson. I'm a detective sergeant with the Brookings Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division. And tonight I just want to take a few minutes of your time to talk about a new partnership that the Brookings Police Department has taken the endeavor to join. So recently the Brookings Police Department entered an agreement as an affiliate agency with what is called the ICAC Task Force, otherwise known as the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. So just a brief overview of what the task force is. The ICAC Task Force is a national network of law enforcement agencies dedicated to combating online child exploitation. This program is funded by the United States Department of Justice. Currently in South Dakota, we have 17 affiliate agencies, and there are over 5,200 agencies across the country to expand our network for investigative resources. What does an affiliate agency do? These are just the basic pillars of what we do as an affiliate agency. So our primary responsibility is investigating internet crimes against children, conducting digital evidence collection, supporting victim identification, and then providing community education. Benefits of becoming an affiliate agency, the 3 pillars that we have here are training, resources, and funding opportunities. So with training, our detectives will receive specialized investigator training specific to internet crimes against children, child exploitation, or any type of other sexual related or internet-based crimes. And then the second prong to that is going to be the digital forensics training, which is the deep dive into how we process these types of cases, how we collect evidence, and then how we prepare a good case for prosecution. Some of the resources, it's access to investigative databases. As I stated before, there's over 5,200 agencies across the country. That gives us a very broad scope to have resources in all of those databases and the ability to investigate these cases with all of those agencies jointly. Technical and forensic support, again, with how we process these cases and how we document them and prepare them for prosecution. And then with the broad network of all of the agencies involved in the ICAC Task Force, it's part of the a larger intelligence sharing community as well. And then for the funding opportunities, there's potential for equipment grants that get granted from the Department of Justice or from the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation. And then there's always the potential for overtime reimbursement for any of the operations that may accrue any type of overtime. Responsibilities of an affiliate agency. So these are the main items that we as a affiliate agency have to meet. So we have to assign a minimum of 1 investigator to the ICAC Task Force. Currently, my division has 2 detectives that have been assigned to the ICAC Task Force. We have to assign these trained investigators to all ICAC related cases. So any case that has any type of nexus or tie to a crime against a child, an exploitation of a child, that detective or that investigator would be assigned that case. Participate in task force operations and investigations. The participation in these operations are assisting other affiliate agencies, such as the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation. The 4th one, maintain compliance with ICAC investigative guidelines. These are guidelines that are set by the DOJ that we have to follow. And then complete any required training and reporting opportunities. All of the training and reporting opportunities do include an educational piece. So when we do our monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and annual reporting, we do have to provide some level of community education as part of being an affiliate agency as well. The impact on our community. The biggest impact of joining the task force as an affiliate agency is to improve our ability to identify and rescue victims that are victims of internet crimes, child exploitation crimes, missing and endangered children, strengthen our investigations involving online child exploitation through all of the resources, training, and everything else that we obtain from this partnership, and then provide proactive enforcement instead of reactive responses. And then lastly, like I talked about a little bit, is the increase on community education and prevention. So that's that outreach that we can have with the community to educate our youth and educate teachers and everybody else that's going to be involved that helps us work these cases and again, overall improve our ability to identify and rescue these victims. And then the last thing that I have is just a financial consideration. At this time, joining as an affiliate agency, there is no direct cost to the city because this is a grant-funded program that's sponsored by the Department of Justice. Most of the funding is going to come from the Department of Justice. All of our trainings that are involved in all of this are going to be covered through the task force as well. And then there is the potential for any equipment reimbursement that's already purchased or owned by the city. The best example I can give for that is the digital forensic software that we use to extract data on cell phones. We can use funds to reimburse the cost that currently costs the city. Does anyone have any questions for me at this time?
Yes. Any questions, comments? Councilmember Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the information, Detective. Do you know if there are other communities in South Dakota that are participating in the task force?
Yeah, currently there's 17 other agencies that are affiliate agencies with this. Yep.
Thank you.
All right,
I have a
thank
few
you very much.
questions.
Bree, do you have a question? I'm sorry.
I do, yes. Thank you, that's okay. My first is kind of a follow-up with Councilmember Wendell's question. Since you had discussed sharing information, is it a barrier if there is a case that spans across multiple agencies or counties and they aren't an affiliate? Does that create a barrier because we are an affiliate?
I think if I understand your question correctly, I don't believe that there is no barrier. The benefit to joining the task force is to kind of break down those barriers, because then that gives us a broader jurisdiction to work as on the task force, and that gives us the jurisdiction to work with all agencies, not just affiliate agencies or just members of the task force. If that answers your question.
Okay. Yes, yeah. I was thinking if there was a different agency that you were trying to work on a case with and they weren't an affiliate, if that was still a barrier that even with this you would have to work to overcome for data sharing.
A lot of the intelligence sharing and a lot of that that we would deal with would be no different than any other criminal case or criminal investigation with another agency. There would be no barriers.
Okay. And is this training going to be specific to investigators, or is there other training that would be offered to the rest of our officers too?
Sure. So the ICAC specific training that's going to be dealing with the internet, crimes against children, the child exploitation, those cases are specific to detectives because they're the ones that are going to go through all of that training. And with the sensitive nature of these cases, we keep it to the trained investigators.
Sure, that makes sense. And then finally, what does the timeline look like since we have entered into this for training being offered to our team, the community education, kind of fully rolling out our participation in this?
Sure. So we've started the onboarding process. Currently in South Dakota, the task force is ran by the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation. They have an ICAC commander, and we've started the onboarding process with him. So now we're just working at procuring a few computers and stuff like that to work this, and then the training is quite frequently, I would say by midsummer we should have the training done.
Okay. Thank you. I'm really excited about joining this task force. I think it's a great benefit to our community and probably much needed for our officers.
Councilmember Specker. You don't have one? Okay. All right. Never mind. Anybody else? Councilmember Hager.
So since this is a grant-funded program, is that grant more for getting this task force up and running with the expectation that then once everybody gets the trainings and some of their equipment reimbursed, it will, for the most part, run itself and not be much of any of a financial burden? Or is it geared towards more trying to get it up and running, but in order to sustain it, there will need to be some spots in the budget to continue with this task force?
No, so our partnership with the ICAC task force, the grant portion of that is what pays for the training and stuff like that. The actual implementation of the program and joining the task force costs us absolutely nothing. On the back end of everything, the only thing that it would ever potentially cost us would be training, but that would be only if, let's say, worst case scenario, the DOJ cut funding for this particular task force. Based on the national trends and everything that I'm seeing, I don't foresee the task force, the ICAC task force, being something that they're going to cut for training and for resources and stuff like that. So there shouldn't be any back end costs. The implementation of the program and joining the task force is all funded and that stuff's all approved. So there shouldn't be anything else.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Brett. We'll move on. Second, we don't have any first readings or contracts or change orders this evening. Item 9A, second reading on ordinance 26-011, an ordinance amending Chapter 14, Animals of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Brookings, South Dakota. Chief Drake will present this item.
Okay. Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, and City staff, and our beautiful community of Brookings. So this is our second reading out of 3 for the amendments to Chapter 14 in our City Code titled Animals. After the direction of City Council, we went back and implemented what the changes were from the first reading, and we'll still look at this as a department staff recently completed a comprehensive review of the entire chapter for the City Code ordinances pertaining to animals. And that was done for a few things. It was to bring us into alignment with the codified laws and to make sure that we were operating similarly to other municipalities inside and around Brookings within South Dakota and in close proximity. The existence of the animal ordinances that we're about to ask for to be amended has not been touched since October of 2013. So when the review went through and staff, Hudson Spoonamore, our community service officer, and Midge Christensen, our executive coordinator, worked together over the past few months, some of the things that they were looking to do was to make sure that we updated our definitions and our terminology. We wanted to make sure that we brought into compliance and alignment with what was being used on the national level and the state level when we talk about animals, either the treatment of it or the enforcement of it or how it can be interpreted. We wanted to make sure that we were on using the best standard going forward. Also, we wanted to make sure that we revised the pet licensing and current vaccinations and the protocols that support responsible pet ownership within the city of Brookings. We're looking to adjust some of the fines, enhance some of the penalties for repeat offenders, and that's really to encourage compliance and to really prevent those who are recurring in violations. Alignment with that municipal code and the codified law will help us provide better care for injured, diseased, or mistreated animals, and as well as it also protects and provides some liability to city staff when they're dealing with these different situations when it pertains to animals. We made sure we enhanced section 14-126, which pertains to restricted animals. In the last 3 or so years, we've had some where dogs specifically would have attacks either on other animals or people, and our city ordinance was well written, but we weren't keeping up with the times over the 13 years that we let it lapse, where we talked about restricted animals as opposed and in conjunction with vicious animals, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And we did, through Hudson's national training in animal control and animal safety, we are asking for the adoption of the use of the Dunbar Aggression Assessment Scale. That is an objective and transparent guide for safety-focused intervention measures when we're dealing with animals in our city. And then we added Article 7, in which established collaborative and proactive rabies control measures to prevent the spread or mitigate and curtail the spread of the disease of rabies throughout our community. Last meeting, if you remember, a motion was made to make sure that we kept the existing city code as it was in regards to chickens, which fall under fowl, and if you look up the chain of things, it can be known as either livestock or poultry. We'll refer to them as fowl here, and that's specifically in sections 14-82, 14-88, and 1490. What we ended up doing with the ordinance from what you saw in the last reading to now, we just reverted back to that language from the original ordinance and put it back in, and it had a negligible effect on the rest of it, and then that will allow it will permit folks in the city of Brookings, when they're meeting those requirements, to have chickens. With that, we will stand for any questions that you may have.
All right. Is there any public comment on this item? We will have a third reading on the 28th, just so that everybody knows. And then, does council have any questions, comments? All right. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you all.
All right, item 9B, public hearing and action on ordinance 26-012, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city of Brookings, a portion of the Bluegill Second Edition, a portion of Bluegill Third Edition, and a portion of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter in Section 1, Township 109 North, Range 50, west from an agricultural A district and residence R1D Single Family District to a residence R1D Single Family District, and residence R3 Apartment District. Ryan Miller will present this item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. This is the second reading and public hearing for a petition to rezone portions of Bluegill 3rd Edition and 2nd Edition and adjacent land from Ag and Residence R1D Single Family District, 2 Residence R1D Single Family District, and R3 Multifamily District. This is being presented alongside a preliminary plat, which will be the next item. Essentially, the development has been going through a number of steps over the last year or so, and they have prepared their proposed preliminary plat, and they want to button up their zoning as they're looking at their proposed lots. The area will include an extension of Lucerne Avenue to the south of its current terminus, and it will bring in another block of Bluegill addition, as well as a connection over to Ace Avenue, which will also extend to the south. The rezone will really include R1D everywhere west of Ace Avenue and R3 east of Ace Avenue. The area is located within a medium-density residential future land use area and an open wetland area. The open wetland area aligns with the area currently zoned R1D single-family district. Staff does support this rezone, and this did pass the Planning Commission unanimously for the rezone portion. And I would stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comments on this item?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Justin Booker with Banner Associates, representing the developer Bluegill Inc. I would just stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any other people from the public that would like to comment on this item? Council, have any questions, comments? Council Member Duran, do you have any comments?
No.
All right. Please call the roll.
Hager,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
All right. Move on to item 10A, action on preliminary plat of lots 1 through 6 in Block 2 of Bluegill Second Edition, lots 5A to 5B in Block 1, lots 1 to 5 in Block 3, lots 1 to 2 in Block 4, and lots 1, 2 in Block 5, Bluegill Third Edition. Ryan will also present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the preliminary plat portion of the previous development we were discussing. So, as mentioned, this would be a preliminary plat of some additional areas for Bluegill Second and Third Edition. So Block 1 of Bluegill Third Edition would be on that southern portion of the extension of Lucerne Avenue, where there is a plan for 6 single-family lots. Lot 6 at the very south end, there would serve as a potential for a trail connection from that cul-de-sac down to the nature park. That was discussed at the Planning Commission, and I understand that the Parks Department is working on speaking with the developer on that, and we would look to potentially formalize that on the final plat stage. The Block 4 in Bluegill Third Edition, just to the east of here, includes 2 lots. Lot 1 is a larger lot at the corner of Grey Goose, a new proposed street, and Lucerne Avenue. That would likely be an area for stormwater drainage. And Lot 2 to the east of there, as we're transitioning into the R3 zoning, would be likely a larger lot which could serve any type of use in the R3. Going up Ace Avenue on that east side, blocks 4 and 5 would include 8 additional R3 zoned lots. And lastly, in kind of the center there, that is a revised portion of Block 2 in Bluegill Second Edition. They did extend that block a little bit further to the south between Lucerne Avenue and Ace Avenue. That did allow for some additional lots. Those are going to be zoned R1D, and looks like they are planned out to support likely single-family attached dwelling units. So it'd be one single-family lot or dwelling on each of those lots attached at the property lines. That ends staff support. This does come with a recommendation of approval from staff and the Planning Commission. Here is the previous Block 2 in Bluegill Second Edition, showing the changes just for that block. And staff would stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? I would assume you're standing for questions, Mr. Booker? All right. Is there any council questions, comments? Councilmember Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I was happy to read in the Planning Commission minutes and to hear this evening that the Parks Department is communicating with the developer about a trail connection. Now seems like the appropriate time to plan for that. We talk a lot about promoting connected neighborhoods, and so the idea that on the front end of this, we could be discussing a trail connection and securing that makes a lot of sense. So I hope that conversation will continue.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilden Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
All right. That concludes our business for this evening. Next meeting will be April 28th. We've got some volunteer board appointments that will be on there. Park and Rec, BMU, Sustainability, and Brookings Disabilities. Yes. And then we'll probably have a new report from our new SDSU liaison. Bid award for city crop land lease, sole source purchase, Burns and McDonald Engineering for the landfill. And then joint jurisdiction rezoning item on first reading. And then consolidated fee schedule amendment will be presented to us also. And then we'll have a city progress report also. We do not have a study session this month, so that was canceled. Paul, you've got a comment to make?
Yes, I know the Parks Director is watching tonight, and she'd be very upset with me if I didn't announce that the registration happens tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Things fill up really fast, and if you're bored this summer, it's your fault. There's plenty of things to do, not just for kids, but for adults. Plenty of activities can be found in the booklet. If you don't have it, it's available online, or check out our social media posts as well. Plenty of information out there, plenty of things for people to do here in Brookings over the summer. Once again, registration starts as soon as 7 in the morning. Hope I know you'll be there. So,
of course.
Thank you.
Does any of the members of the council have anything for future agenda? All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.